Thank you so much for this opportunity to present to you all today on our UDL journey at TAFE New South Wales. As the presentation has been pre-recorded, please use the chat if you have any questions and we will provide answers during the presentation. Firstly, as we are meeting across the country in this virtual space, each of us stands upon the lands of many different nations. We would like to take a moment to acknowledge the traditional custodians of all the nations we are meeting from. We pay our respect to elders past and present and emerging, and extend that respect to any Aboriginal and/or Torres Strait Islander peoples joining us today. In this presentation, we will cover our journey so far from accessibility to UDL and where we would like to go next in furthering our implementation of UDL across product development at TAFE New South Wales. So who are we? We are the inclusive design team that works across the product and quality group, which consists of specialists in universal design for learning, accessibility, language, literacy, numeracy, and digital skills, learning design support, and our cultural customisation team. The team works closely with product design and development teams to advocate and influence the adoption of inclusive design and inclusive practices, as well as universal access to products. My name is Naomi McGrath. I am currently a project manager working in inclusive design. I have worked in both higher education and the vet sector in numerous roles from communications, learning design, universal design and accessibility, as well as a few leadership and management roles. I currently manage the inclusive design team who are responsible for supporting inclusive practices within the product development lifecycle. I have studied and published in the areas of inclusive education, student engagement, and online pedagogy. I have a Bachelor of Communication Studies, Graduate Certificate in Arts, Master of Learning and Development, and a Professional Certificate in Web Accessibility from the University of South Australia. But most importantly, I am a mother of 2 beautiful girls, and my passion for inclusive education goes beyond my desk at work, as my eldest daughter is neurodiverse, shows signs of dyslexia, and needs extra support in her learning, both at school and at home. I will now pass over to John to introduce himself and give you all some background on our journey so far at TAFE New South Wales. And then I will come back to you to present where to next on our current project we are working on.
Thanks, Naomi. Hi, I'm John Fardoulis. I'm the lead Universal Design. We provide advice on accessibility and UDL to our product and quality team that produces teaching, learning and assessment resources. I am also called up from other areas of the organisation for my expertise in accessibility. I have an ICT programming and analysis background, and I have been a web developer specialising in web accessibility. My education includes a Bachelor of Commerce, Computing and Information Systems major, and a Diploma in Computer Programming Technology. I am a senior member of the ACS, a certified professional and IP3 accredited. I have also worked in higher ed and vet sectors. I have lived experience with neurodiversity and low vision. The foundation of our journey was to make our resources accessible. Here are some examples of what we have done so far. We have a flyer on UDL and how it fits into our design cycle and decision thinking process. We haven't been pushing UDL so far and have been concentrating a lot on the legal requirement of accessibility for people with disability. As part of that, we create accessible alternatives for images, audio, video, and scenarios. These text alternatives have become our first UDL resources. For images, we have a flyer on creating text alternatives. This is about the short alternative text for all non-decorative images and the longer descriptions that complex images require. We produce long descriptions in a separate document and add a link adjacent to the image. These are a couple of examples of long descriptions of images we produced. One is an accessible table that is more useful than describing each cell in a series of paragraphs. The other is an example of our attempt at describing a physical map to allow students to answer assessment questions based on the comprehension of the map. These long descriptions are related to UDL checkpoints. Engagement 5.1, use multiple media for communication. Engagement 7.3, minimize threats and distractions. Representation 1.3, offer alternatives for visual information. Representation 2.5, illustrate through multiple media. And action and expression 6.3, facilitate managing information and resources. For audio and video, we create closed captions and descriptive transcripts. We initially created a how-to guide to download the video from our Vimeo host into YouTube Studio, where captions were auto-generated. We then edited the captions to correct mistakes and fix the formatting before exporting the captions file and adding it to the video on Vimeo. We also used the captions file as a starting point for our descriptive transcript, which we then edited in Dreamweaver to format it and add relevant descriptions before publishing the transcript and linking to it from adjacent to the video. These days, we outsource a lot of the captions and transcript work. These are a couple of examples of our transcripts. We mark up the content, including visually differentiating the descriptions, dialogue, and each speaker's name. We also have started using ARIA roles to provide semantic meaning to the content, with descriptions assigned a role of note. We have also used transcripts to create accessible alternatives to H5P and articulate rise branching scenarios. We add the questions to the transcript and send the reader to different parts of the transcript via anchor links based on their selected answers to the questions. These transcripts are related to UDL checkpoints. Engagement 5.1, use multiple media for communication. Engagement 7.3, minimizing threats and distractions. Representation 1.2, offer alternatives for auditory information. Representation 1.3, offer alternatives for visual information. And action and expression 6.3, facilitate managing information and resources. We have collaborated with our designers and technical writers to produce a writing guide for learning resources. This covers principles of good writing, style, consistency, plain English, structuring content, inclusive and non-discriminatory language, grammar and punctuation. We also have file naming conventions that we follow to make publishing and searching for resources more efficient. We have tested articulate rise for accessibility and provide advice via notes and checklists on which components are accessible and which should be avoided or used alongside accessible alternatives. We have done the same with H5P. We advise which content types to avoid, where possible, and recommend accessible alternatives for those that are not accessible but must be used. With RISE and H5P, we don't just accept the vendor's stipulation on accessibility, as they can't test with all versions of Access technology. We have found that while things may work okay in NVDA and Chromevox, the results are different when testing in JAWS, which our customers prefer to use. Before handing it over to Naomi, I want to discuss our self-paced learning. We believe capability is a prerequisite to allow staff to follow accessibility and UDL practices. We recently updated our staff Moodle training. We merged our existing UDL module with the UDL in Tertiary Education e-learning module co-produced by ADCET. We have partnered with the Centre for Accessibility to produce a document accessibility module. We also have some inclusion modules on Aboriginal culture, disability awareness, cultural diversity, and LGBTQ foundations. We recently developed an Acknowledgement of Country commercial microskill course that we have made available to all staff. Well, that's it from me. Over to Naomi.
Thanks, John. And where to next? So TAFE New South Wales is currently developing an educational quality framework that provides an evidence-based approach to course design, development, assessment, learning platforms, delivery, and training practices that enable high-quality educational products and services. This aligns to initiatives within the TAFE New South Wales strategic plan on embedding principles of good practice in course design and teaching. The Inclusive Design Standards Project is an initiative within the Educational Quality Framework to help embed inclusive practices, including universal design for learning within course design and the use of digital resources, including accessible approaches for learning, to support the diverse needs of all learners to enhance learner success. To embed inclusive design means our diverse learners feel safe and supported, our staff are confident to create and deliver inclusive education, and our organisation promotes equity and inclusion by meeting legal, ethical, and regulatory requirements. How are we going to support this? By having inclusive design standards as a baseline to all product development, capability uplift, and supporting resources to continue to improve and enhance inclusivity within TAFE New South Wales. With over 350,000 students, we know a one-size-fits-all approach to product design will not work for a diverse range of students from different backgrounds, different stages of their learning journey, and very different situations and motivations for studying at TAFE New South Wales. The inclusive design standards set clear requirements and expectations to aid in creating and maintaining an accessible and inclusive environment. The standards were created from extensive research, recommendations from an accessibility gap analysis, and a wide range of consultation across the organisation. The standards are organised in 5 focus areas of accessibility, communication, engagement, cultural connection, and usability. Within these focus areas are 30 standards to guide inclusivity in product development and delivery. To support and enhance each standard, resources are being developed and a capability uplift program is being planned. Focus Area 1, accessibility, focuses on meeting the needs of all learners and staff, including those with disability, by ensuring products, content development tools, and related delivery technologies are accessible. This includes meeting web content accessibility guidelines, complying with the latest authoring tool accessibility guidelines, ensuring suppliers meet the Australian accessibility standards, and that accessibility checking is incorporated throughout the design of all products. Focus Area 2, communication, addresses learners' diverse abilities, language and cultural backgrounds by using clear and consistent language, well-structured content, and scaffolded learning sequences. This will help to reduce cognitive load by writing clear and concise, ensure correct and inclusive language is used, adhere to government writing standards, and making sure readability testers are used in development. Focus Area 3, engagement, focuses on embedding the Universal Design for Learning framework with a commitment to the UDL +1 approach. We will achieve this by addressing differences in learning preferences through flexible, learner-centric design by harnessing on the UDL framework as a baseline for providing learning content and activities. We will commit to the UDL +1 approach by adding just one more way to enhance learning by embedding UDL strategies and eliminating any pain points. Where possible, encourage collaboration and social learning, and provide timely and meaningful feedback throughout learning activities and assessment. Focus Area 4, Cultural Connection, focuses on embracing and promoting a sense of connection, identity, and purpose within learning through appropriate cultural authenticity. These standards will acknowledge cultural safety as a critical and mandatory aspect for TAFE New South Wales, support learner success by creating culturally safe and inclusive products and resources, uplift staff cultural competency and capability, and encourage the psychological safety of all learners and staff. Our last focus area is usability, and this area focuses on the customer experience and how easy user interfaces are to operate and access by ensuring products, content development tools, and related delivery technologies are user-friendly, enabling safety, efficiency, and effectiveness for all users. To help support this, usability testing, review, and remediation are incorporated from the beginning and throughout the design process for all learning and assessment products. We will meet current usability guidelines and international standards and follow usability heuristics for all product design and development. To support the standards and build on our confidence levels of our staff, we are developing an inclusive design toolkit that is a user-friendly and written following our standards and provides helpful just-in-time information for those developing and supporting product development. The ID Hive is a one-stop shop for resources that all staff can access, making it accessible for everyone to come and go, grab resources and knowledge, and take this back to their teams when needed. We are currently building a UDL strategies database that will be an interactive tool to help support our commitment to the UDL +1 approach. This database will be a collection of proven UDL strategies mapped to the UDL framework and will help to spark curiosity and inspire designers and facilitators when designing, developing, and delivering products. We will also have a series of micro-learning videos that also provide that just-in-time information, including how-tos for accessibility compliance, and just another way to offer support for our busy staff and to help meet their learning preference. So as a snapshot of what we have planned as a capability framework, we will be implementing a phased training program, which will highlight each focus area and will concentrate on the individual standards so staff can feel confident to meet our baseline for inclusive design. Our key takeaways: embedding inclusion and especially UDL principles takes time. So when you have been able to embed UDL and receive feedback that you have made a difference, take the win. Make sure you connect with networks across your organisation. Get support from senior management. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Take opportunities as they come. It's been from colleagues asking for advice and us offering that support where we have been able to get more insights on gaps or pain points that we can then help to embed UDL into their teaching and learning. Congratulate colleagues doing great work and showcase their work and build awareness across your organisation. Remember, slow and steady wins the race. Take time on developing your staff. Think outside the box when it comes to capability uplift. In the past, we have had a tip of the week. We are looking into a WCAG Wednesday, or maybe there could be an opportunity to add a Did You Know in your organisation's newsletter to help build awareness on inclusivity. So thank you all for attending our presentation today. We are very happy to answer any further questions you might have in the chat.